Move away from my car,
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. Cheating mother. Shoot me. Give me my.
It was all captured on camera when 45-year-old Tynesha Evans, a single mother, was moments away from being brutally shot in the face on March 16, 2019, in the parking lot of a Wells Fargo bank at Alpharetta, Georgia. Behind the trigger was her boyfriend, Othniel Nathan Innes. An armed witness driving by heard the gunshot and ordered Othniel to drop the weapon. Holding Othniel at gunpoint, he made a 911 call.
A man just shot a woman in the parking lot at Wells Fargo Bank.
When police arrived at the scene, they couldn't find an exact motive behind the gruesome murder. This leads us to one question. Was it truly an accident or a cold-blooded, premeditated murder?
I don't remember. It was an accident.
The horrors began on March 16, 2019, when 45-year-old Tynesha Evans, a mother of four, met her 64-year-old boyfriend, Othniel Nathan Innes, at the Wells Fargo Bank in Alpharetta, Georgia. Othniel lured Tynesha to the bank with the promise of giving her $380 to help her pay off her overdue rent. However, this promise quickly turned into an argument. During the argument, Othniel brutally shot Tynesha in the face in the bank's parking lot. By the time the police arrived at the scene, Tynesha was dead. Following the incident, Othniel was brought in for questioning that would help reveal the motive behind this murder.
Like I told her, I want this to be over with. It was tiring. I came here and I filed like 2 different reports. She started yelling, screaming and stuff, and then she called me up. So I pulled over to the side and I asked her to get out of my car because, in my interpretation of some person believe in it, could install their body, for money, and if I'm helping you pay your rent, so I've never flown my body, never met with anyone for money in exchange or anything like that. So I asked her to get out of my car. And, after she got out, that's when I realized that my phone went missing. And I walked back to her because she was walking on the street on Academy Street going home. And I said, I need my phone. Didn't have my phone. She said, no, she doesn't have it. And the funny thing is, a couple days later, the phone ends up on the school bus that I drive in a box. And she told me that someone, when she was getting out of the car, her bank and some others out in the trails, and someone brought that along with my phone and left it outside the front door. So that's the there.
And she made these accusations. So what was your feeling about that when she?
Well, I sent her a text back and I told her, I said, I can't deal with this anymore. But, let's just end the relationship because I can't deal with you constantly accusing me of other women. This has been going on for a while and, it makes no sense. I'm not seeing anyone.
So what, you don't have nothing to say about the picture? Do you have anything to say about the picture? I did not do nothing to you. You can take me all you want to. Like, this book.
You come up to me and I'll knock your
You have nothing to say to me about the picture.
Move from off my car.
You don't have nothing to say to me about the picture.
Move from off of my car.
Did some person that didn't look like a cop hold a gun to you?
There was a guy in a truck. He told me, he said to get down on the ground. And he told me to shift it out of the way. I asked him if it was the police, and he didn't answer me. But I just sat on the ground and pushed it down the way.
Okay. And who is she to you?
She was my girlfriend we were dating.
How long have you been dating for?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Today you were at the Wells Fargo?
Yeah.
What happened?
So she has issues with her rent. She has to go to court on Monday. And then I went to the Wells Fargo Bank who was lost no money to give her to help pay her rent. Before I left home, she texted me and told me something about yesterday. I went over to Dunkin' Donuts and how somebody sent her a picture of me with another woman at Dunkin' Donuts when I was giving this woman. So I sent her back a text message and I said, I'm tired of you accusing me all the time. So like 2.5 years we've been together, it's always this accusation of me with another woman. I feel I'm tired of that. I feel where, I'm gonna give you the money. I feel that after that, so you gonna communicate with me anymore. I said, don't respond to the text. Don't call me because I don't want to hear any excuses. I'm basically just tired. So I got ready when I was going over to the Wells Fargo Bank. She called me. I didn't answer my phone. I went to the ATM. I withdrew the money and I was sending her a text because I told her to meet me at 11:30 and it was like 11:38. So I was texting her to tell her I'm at the bank and then I saw her pull into the bank. So she got out of her car. I was standing by my car. She came up and I gave her the money. And she stood between me and my car door, so I couldn't get inside my car. So I said to her, could you please move away so I can get into my car? And then she proceeded the conversation about how, and now she has a picture of the woman and, stuff like that.
Othniel focuses too much on his side of the story to defend his actions. But what he didn't realize is that recording the altercation on the phone was not the smartest idea, especially when he knew he was about to do something horrifying. On top of that, Othniel did not even consider the gravity of what the witnesses could do prior to killing Tynesha. It feels like Othniel's impulsive character speaks louder than the argument between Tynesha and him. And that's not all. What Othniel reveals next is about to put him in even hotter water.
I was like, this is nonsense. I was on my phone. I was recording her standing up by my door, and then she just pulled the phone out of my hand and moved away. And I said to her, can I have my phone, please? And I don't remember what she said after that. And I just reached for my phone. I didn't mean to shoot her or anything like that. I had no reason to shoot her or anything like that. And I just remember the gun going off.
Okay.
And that was it. I just, that was it.
Okay. You moved here in 2010. You said you made some reports about Tynesha before?
Yeah. One of the last months, actually, we got into an argument while I was taking her to the bank to get some money, and I had my cell phone and the cigarette lighter, and she called me a name, so I just pulled over and actually get out of my car. And when she got out, I had the headset on. It was connected to the phone and kept telling me out of range, out of range. I came here. I filed the report. The officer and I went back, listened to the phone. We never found it. He went to her apartment and spoke to her. She said she didn't have it. So I reported the phone as stolen to Verizon. And I was able to get back another phone. And then prior to that, I think it was in 2017, I think, we had a disagreement, and she was actually following me. And while she was following me, I called in to dispatch, and I came here and filed a report on.
So she's kind of like stalking you a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know why she does stuff like that. She listens to other people, man. I don't want no problems or anything like that. I believe she's got enough problems to deal with, and there's really no reason to, I mean, I was supposed to don't take out an order of protection against her, and the only reason why I didn't do that was because I was so destined to pop up when she goes to look for a job, and I didn't want to do that. When the officer went and last month, he asked me if I wanted to press charges, and I asked them, well, what would they do? They said they would arrest her, and I said no, because she got a daughter in college. She has her 14-year-old also, and I didn't want their lives to be obstructed by anything like that.
Okay.
You know?
Got it.
And we leave them, like I told her, I suggested to her, going to Tom's where he went. He went already for 2 sessions, and there's stuff that needs working out, but I don't know. She thinks to listen to other people, or she's playing someone that's telling her stuff. I don't know the truth.
Yeah. Okay. And she has in fact like been not maybe aggressive towards you, but to a point of an annoyance where you have been making reports about this annoying behavior that she's accusing you of. In one case, this particular case, of some sort of cheating. Well, and she's accused you of that in the past?
I didn't make the report about the cheating. What I made the report about was when my phone went missing.
Right.
And also when she was following me, when it was in 2017. Because I had called and I had the operator on the line while she was following me and stuff like that. And she told me after that someone told her to do it.
Someone told her to follow you?
Yeah. I don't know.
She's been like harassing you. Has she made it like overt threat?
It is because the email I sent to her, I told her, if you contact me anymore, I'm going to consider it harassment, and I'm going to come to the police and file a report. It wasn't working out. I love her to death. I don't like you. I love her, but it's just this thing that I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So when she was acting aggressive towards you, but she didn't assault you, she didn't have a weapon of her own.
Well, I didn't see anything. I don't know if she does, or if she did have something or not. I knew. I had given her a knife because she drives Lyft, and she was complaining that when she was driving, there's certain meals that come on to her, and they're like trying to pick her up and stuff like that.
Although there is some evidence suggesting Tynesha was aggressive towards Othniel, the altercation mostly remained verbal. This means that even though Tynesha might have accused Othniel of infidelity, he had no reason to shoot Tynesha dead. Besides this, Othniel says that he was about to go to the police to get Tynesha arrested, but prior to murdering her, he didn't bother to do so. This proves how impulsive Othniel is, and just when Othniel realizes that he is getting in the detective's bad favors, he decides to change the plot.
They're like trying to pick her up and stuff like that. So I had given her a knife, and I said, well, if anyone tried to do anything, at least you'll have this to your protection. I don't know if she had that on her or not, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea is, but I understand because here she is, and you're giving her that money for what? Because it sounds like you guys broke up. Is that right?
Well, we had broken up before. Like I told her, I said, you need compliments, and I agreed to go with her for the compliments. But one of the things that I made clear to her was that we were not back to normal. Everything was not back to normal because there was some issue that arose the last time I came and made a report, and I didn't feel quite comfortable at that point going full force back into the relationship. We talked and stuff like that, but I wasn't going over to her house or anything like that when it was not being intimate. While I was just working with her, with the counselor, to get things back on track, because I thought it was going to be difficult with our kids and and still continuing the relationship the way we were having it before. Yeah.
So what was she going to counseling for?
Oh, basically it was like the accusation of, saying cheating or, saying having someone, that kind of stuff.
Kind of like trust issues?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys plan on getting married? Is that?
Oh, we did not have any plans. It did come up, but like I told her, I needed to get to know her better. I didn't want to move forward with her having trust issues with me because I saw that would have came over into the relationship. So, like I told her, I just wanted to get to know her better and stuff like that.
Has she ever been violent towards you?
And like I said, it's just in an aggressive way in which she talks, or she will like come in between me and, saying, I just try to get me angry and upset.
But never physical violence yet.
Nothing major. I mean, I could physical and just be maybe a push or something like that, which I don't really think so.
I mean, you seem like how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
And how much do you weigh?
I'm about 280.
So, I mean, how big is she?
She's 6 feet tall, and I think she was maybe two something also.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she hadn't been violent towards you, no injuries received from her, but there's a push here and there.
No.
But you weren't scared of her or anything like that.
There were times when I felt threatened because, like I said, I didn't know what she would have done. The first time was when she was following me, and at first I thought it was a joke, really. But then she got out of her car and she came up to my car, and she was telling me, "Well, pull over right now." And I was like, "Whoa, I've never seen you like this before." And I mean, one of the things that attracted me to her was the fact that she told me she's an ordained minister also. And even though she has 4 kids, I just saw her as a lady who went through certain things in life already, have experienced certain things, and this is one person, like you said, who went through the tough and rugged, so therefore I wouldn't have to deal with all of that kind of stuff because she has 4 kids, she was single, and, she's struggling. And that's one of the things, plus she's an ordained minister, that I really admired about her.
So you guys are still, although you kind of cooled it a little bit, you're still in a relationship with her, and she's trying to work through her trust issues with you. And part of that is that she is visiting this counselor.
Yeah.
And if that can work out, you see a future in the relationship. If not, it seems like it's maybe dwindling out.
Yeah.
Am I just following you?
Yeah.
Just so I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
But all along, you've made reports to the police, or at least 2. Any other police reports anywhere other than Alpharetta?
No.
As Othniel gives a sob story as an effort to get off the hook, a crucial detail comes up. The key detail is that Tynesha was never violent. This confession is exactly in line with what Othniel had recorded on his phone. So what Othniel says next is about to be nothing but a desperate attempt to cover up his tracks.
I go to college as a fact to cancel all my classes yesterday because I can't study, I can't focus. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that was going on. When she was accusing me yesterday I did go to Dunkin' Donuts, but I wasn't with anyone. I went down to the college to withdraw from my classes, and there was one counselor there, and I went to Dunkin' Donuts further down on North Point. I got a cup of coffee and 2 donuts, and then I went back.
And then eventually you get a text message around 11, and she said, "I know you were with somebody yesterday."
Yeah, she said that she has a picture of me with, and I didn't take it serious because I knew I wasn't with anyone.
Does she have any mental issues that?
Not that I know of. And that's one of the reasons why I told her, I just want to get to know her better because I mean, I know what you told me, but I'm just going by that really. I never really checked into her history or anything like that.
But you've been with her for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So you learn a little bit more about her, but she doesn't seem to have any really big mental issues from what you've seen.
She doesn't seem to have any big ones. I both me and the therapist, and I'm explaining that because I thought maybe there was something from her past, and the therapist also brought that up the last time we were there. That there might be something from her past that is causing her to feel.
So, I mean, you still you love her.
Yes, I do.
And so, was it your intention to break up with her and end this relationship, or was this just kind of another one of those?
Well, after she sent me that text this morning, telling me, saying about this woman, saying, I texted her back and I said, let's just end it. Is it gonna, because we went through the same thing in therapy the last time we went to the therapist. So why bring it back up? I mean, the therapist already had told her he don't think that I'm cheating on her or anything like that. So, why bring it back up? I mean, what is that going to do for the relationship?
Gotcha. And I think you made this clear, but I need to just directly ask you: is there another woman that?
No, there's no one else. I have not.
Any friends or anything that she could mistake for having a relationship or anything like that?
No.
Which there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing illegal about that.
But there's no one. I'm not seeing anyone. I'm not going to bed with anyone, prank, jump off, whatever. It's nothing like that.
Okay.
It's nothing like that.
Othniel accuses Tynesha of being suspicious of his infidelity. Even though the store's CCTV proves that there was no side woman, his one-sided accusation still has a lingering suspicion. This is when the detectives are about to pull out major evidence from one of Tynesha's daughters, Audrey.
Okay. And then, would you mind, I just have a few questions that potentially you could answer, and it won't take very long, but I just want to make sure you're in the right state of mind at the moment to do that. That's okay. Because we're looking at information that's coming in through, his cell phone and stuff, things like that. But your mother may have been accusing him of having a child. Did you ever hear anything about this?
She told me about that because she overheard a conversation where he was actually talking about me as well.
Really?
And she told me not to say anything to him or anything like that. I was eating something and he relayed a message to one of his friends.
Do you know what the message was? Or?
Basically, the way I was eating something, it made him want to do something to me.
Really?
And she told me it, but she was like, don't go confront him. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I was just like, okay. So I don't know that. But it made him uncomfortable to actually come in the house because she had asked him about it. Okay. Oh, but not only that, I can mention this. Around the time that they both were doing the police report or the police thing, he actually pushed my mama out of the moving car.
And she told me.
Push her out.
And literally pushed her out of his moving car. Like he was driving and he pushed her out of his car. Wow. And she was saying that she was trying to get help from drivers around, but they told her that she needed to find a police station or something like that.
Go back to her side of town.
Yeah, and to go back to her side of town. So she ended up making it home, and she said he actually came to the apartment, was kicking on the door, and different things.
While Audrey's statements reflect negatively on Othniel, there was limited concrete evidence to fully support her claims. This is when the detectives decide to have a chat with Tynesha's therapist, Dr. Epperly, to verify if Othniel actually has a history of violence.
Oh, my God. Well, I am free to say this. There was absolutely no insinuation of in any way that there was any violent tendencies or ideation on his part. I don't, with the 2 visits, I don't know how much I can help you other than that there was there were just no violent threats or ambiance in the room at all.
Although there is a gap between the accusation made by Tynesha's daughters and the statement of Tynesha's therapist, nothing conclusive can be said about Othniel's nature from these two interviews. So at this point, the detectives will have to rely on Othniel's account of the events leading up to the homicide. However, as Othniel starts recounting his crime, his facade of innocence is about to crumble.
And tell me about today.
I got up, I made breakfast. When I finished that, I was looking at Channel 2 News, and before I did all of that, I had said my prayers before, went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, and made breakfast. Then I checked my phone, checked my emails and stuff like that. And apparently, Tynesha had sent me a text message last night, so I responded to that. And then she had responded to me telling me that the bank closed at like 12. And then I responded back to her later on. Then I got a text message with her talking about, she got a picture of me and the lady and stuff like that. And I didn't respond to that because I didn't want to initiate anything. So I just basically didn't respond to that. What I did do, like I told you, I responded and I said, calling it quit. So I'll be trying to do the money because I promised you that. And I told her where to meet me and at what time to meet me, and that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you guys had previously arranged for you to give her this money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we spoke about it during the week. Even yesterday, we spoke about it, and I told her you have to also give her the money.
Okay. And so then did you just hand her over the money?
Yeah.
And then what did you say to her?
I just gave her the money, and she came and she took it, and that's when she went and stood up right in front of the driver's side door. And then she started talking to me about, she's seen what the owner looks like, and she got pictures of the woman. Yeah.
And what were you saying back to her at that point?
At that point, I didn't say nothing. I had my camera in my hand, and I was just, taping her, just standing by my door telling her this stuff. Because like I said, I didn't want any altercation. I didn't want to get into anything.
And so and that went on for a little bit until you drew your gun?
No, she came forward and took the phone out of my hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you drew your gun?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you recall shooting her?
I recall yelling the gun going off, but I don't recall pulling the trigger or anything like that. I just recall hearing the gun going off. And it's like, I don't know, it didn't feel real to me because I had no intention of shooting her. Yeah.
And why did you pull the gun?
Just to scare her. No, just to fear her.
Okay. And you thought, and by scaring her, what would that accomplish?
I would have done my phone back, my phone go my way, and that would have been it.
So she had your phone in her hand at that point. So you wanted to scare her, and you're giving your phone back.
Yeah.
Okay. And you had no intentions of shooting her.
No.
Is it the gun just went off, or like?
Yeah.
Or it was an accident?
I don't remember pulling the trigger. It was just an accident.
In spite of fatally shooting Tynesha, Othniel still hopes that Tynesha is alive. After all, had this been the truth, Othniel would not be charged with murder. However, soon enough, the detective is about to tear all of his hopes apart with a brutal truth: his arrest.
What is the normal procedure like? What happens after this?
Well, after this, so you are under arrest, obviously.
Okay.
We had this incident in the parking lot, and that's what I'm trying to figure out, what exactly happened, Your Tanisha had been shot, right? She had to go to the hospital, and it doesn't look good for her at this moment. Okay. And so obviously we're working through that. So, you're under arrest, and depending on what occurs with Tanisha, I mean, those are going to be the charges. Now, so I'm just trying to get your side of it. Do you understand? I mean, what other questions would you have?
Well, when will I be able to speak to seeing that I am on the arrests? If it doesn't look well for her, then what would I be charged with?
Murder. So after you shot her, did you see the wound to her?
I saw that she fell to the ground and I saw she was bleeding, and I was in shock because I at first I thought, it was just like accident, but then I saw the blood and, it kind of like put me in shock somewhat. And then I got my phone and, I did my best to get the dial. I thought and called 911,
Was your phone still recording when, like, the video, was it still recording?
I don't know. I would have to check the phone.
But you were recording. She grabbed it while it was recording.
Yeah.
And so it was probably still recording unless she inadvertently hit something on it.
Well, I don't know because when I dialed 911, if that would have not hit the
but I mean, it could, right? But it could have been. I guess the only thing. All right. So you saw her bleeding. She fell to the ground. You tried to get to the phone to call. Did you try to do any sort of medical?
Well, I went to her and, so I shook her and she wasn't moving. So I dialed 911.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. She is deceased.
Oh, no.
Okay. I mean, I think it was kind of obvious to the scene, though, was it not? That.
I honestly, I really couldn't tell because, like I said, it just, the whole thing, I was just in shock.
But you knew that she was shot in the face, right?
Yeah, because I saw the blood coming from her mouth.
Did you think she shot her in the mouth, or where did you shoot her at?
No, I mean, I think there was something in her forehead. I assume that's where, she got shot.
Well, how exactly would you shoot her in the forehead by accident?
Say that again?
How would you shoot her in the forehead by accident?
Well, she's almost as tall as me when I pulled my gun out. Kind of like I said, I heard the gun went over. She's almost as tall as I am.
Yeah, but I mean, you had to point it directly at her face then, right?
I just pulled, to be honest with you, I just pulled it out. It was not my intention to shoot her.
And I get that. So, but I mean, you pointed at her face in order to scare her?
I pulled it out, something like this, but it wasn't, I didn't like, consciously like choose any part of her body to point the gun at or anything like that. It was just action.
So when you pull a gun out, that's the appropriate action is to point the gun towards the person. I mean, you couldn't just hold it down like at your side and say, give me my phone back.
Yes, I would say I could have done that, but at the same time, also, I wasn't like thinking, well, okay, I'm gonna pull out the gun and shoot her or anything like that. That was the last thing that, I would have. This was something that was not supposed to happen.
I understand that. It sounds to me, though, like potentially you had gotten fed up with her antics against you. So here you are at Wells Fargo giving her money, and she's still taking this, still taking it out on you, and that she's, giving you all this anger and accusations, and it made you mad.
I was mad, but I would say that I was mad to that point where I would shoot her. And in terms of the setup for it, all I wanted to do was just get in my car and move away. That's all I wanted to do.
Othniel's excuse of trying to scare Tynesha seems implausible. This is because his relationship with Tynesha was already troublesome, and the investigators had already known that he was trying to get Tynesha off his tail. On top of that, Othniel's effort to frame this murder as an accident holds no ground because Tynesha already had a deep distrust towards him. It is at this point the detectives are about to pressure Othniel just enough to debunk the story of this so-called accident.
No, I had no intention whatsoever of shooting her. I didn't think of a body part to point my gun or anything like that. When she snatched the gun out of my hands, I was shocked. I was surprised because I didn't expect that she would have done that.
You said gun, but phone.
I'm sorry, when she pulled the phone out of my hands, I'm sorry. I was shocked. I wasn't expecting her to do anything like that because I don't know what was the reason. I mean, I don't have nothing on my phone that, you know what I'm saying.
Was it just simply the act of filming her, maybe, that you made her mad, and she's like, does she know you were filming her?
Yeah.
And so like maybe that made her mad, and she's just like,
I don't know.
I mean, you weren't saying anything to her. I mean, and we'll see this video, but maybe you just don't remember what you were saying to her at the time.
I remember asking her to move out of the way so I can get into my car. In terms of conversation, I don't remember, you know what I'm saying, us having a conversation where we were going into a dialogue or something like that. I do remember her explaining that, you know, now she has a picture of what the woman looks like. I don't even know who's the woman she's talking about. I really don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Officer Vance, you've been sitting here the whole time. I'm wondering if you think there's any questions that you might have for this gentleman.
With you said you wanted to scare her, but you know, a gun is a lethal weapon, correct?
Yeah.
So why would you put it and then point at it? Because from what she said, you reached back and you drew your weapon and just pointed straight forward. What does that signal to you?
To me, it was just
if somebody,
right.
If I was to draw my gun at you and point straight at your forehead, what do you think my intent is?
I would say, well, it depends on the situation also. If you're asking me to get down on the ground, then I would assume that you want me to get down on the ground.
In the same instant that you and your deceased ex-girlfriend would be.
Yeah.
What if she was the one to do the exact same thing? What do you think her intent would be? Would she just be doing that period, or would she be doing that to harm you?
I mean, it could be either or. You know what I'm saying, to be honest with you, it could be either or. And I mean, given the fact that she said to me, I want my phones back, you know, it could be either or.
And you said you loved this woman, correct?
Yeah.
And you loved her enough to pull a weapon on her to scare her.
Just to scare her, not to shoot her.
At this moment, the detectives drop a bombshell to trap Othniel like a sinking ship. Even a toddler knows that no one points a loaded gun at someone's face and pulls the trigger just to scare them. And this is when a series of chilling evidence would resurface, making the truth unmistakably clear.
Donuts at the school, hugging and kissing on her, right?
Move away from my car,
let me tell you something. Let me tell you. Shoot.
Give me my phone.
Sensing that there is no point making excuses, Othniel is about to break down in the last bit of the interrogation.
One other question before we take some pictures here. Now, I am going to be talking to her family here. Is there anything Becker you want me to pass on for that?
Tell them I'm sorry. This was an accident.
Okay.
This was not supposed to happen.
I understand.
The evidence against Othniel is too clear to lend credibility to his defense. But is the evidence strong enough to put Othniel behind bars forever? Othniel Ennis was sentenced to 25 years in prison on February 12, 2025, following his acceptance of a plea deal. The sentence comprises 20 years for the homicidal charges and an additional 5 years for illegal possession of a firearm during the commission of the crime. The plea deal was presented as non-negotiable.